Today we're gonna have frijoles and tortillas hechas en casa. That means tortillas made at home. Come on, I'll show you what it's all about.
All right, let's go ahead and get our Instapot out and get this ready. Every Instapot needs water, and when you're cooking beans, you're gonna need a lot, and I'm gonna tell you just how much in the recipe in the description. Now is the time to put your onions and your jalapeños and all your spices, and make sure you give it a nice little stir or two. Make sure your valve is set to sealing. Set the machine to pressure cook and set it for 1 hour. After the cooking time is over, you're going to need to wait 20 minutes for the pot to slow release.
It takes about 1 hour for these beans to make here in the Instapot, and then after that you have to do a slow release, and a slow release means you can't undo the valve for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It says right here on the front of the machine, and then after that we can open it up. The reveal. Oh my goodness. This is the smell of beans that I remember from my grandmother. Come here, take a look. It is amazing. This is what your beans are gonna look like. We're gonna take these beans and make them into refried beans, the best beans you've ever had.
Put a skillet on the stove and make sure it's very hot. Take off the stems and cut up your serrano peppers. Once the skillet is hot, add your chorizo and your cut serranos when the chorizo starts to break down. You'll notice that the skin on the serrano peppers is going to start to turn brown, maybe even black, and then it's time to add the frijoles. Now it's time to mash the beans. Now do it carefully so it doesn't splatter on you. And the extra bean juice from the Instapot, just keep that just in case you want to dilute the beans later. Your beans will look like this after about 5 minutes, and then they're almost ready, and this is the time I like to try them with a little corn chip. This is my favorite consistency, where you can scrape the bottom of the pan and the beans are slow to fill up the gap. Now it's time to make the tortillas. Get out a scale, place an empty bowl on it, and zero it out. Add 250 grams of all-purpose flour. Then in a different vessel, add 75 grams of lard. You can use the vegetable oil, but it doesn't taste as good. Add your baking powder, your salt, and mix together with your hand. An amazing YouTube chef called Guzi says that you should mix it until the mixture feels like sand and crumbles like this. And he was right. Once the flour has been mixed properly with the lard, now it's time to add water, little bit by little bit. After about 5 to 7 minutes of kneading, your masa or the dough will stop sticking to your fingers, and that tells you it's time to let it rest. I know it sounds like a long time, but you should really let it rest for between 1 and 2 hours. If you make your tortillas right away, they just won't have the right texture. And finally, it's time to make the tortillas. Now I took the masa out and I rolled it into a long strand, which I cut into 14 equal portions. Now this is where you need to have some technique. You take a portion, you roll it into a ball and flatten it out on a floured surface. And with your fingers, you press it out. Once it's pressed out, then you use a roller or rodillo and you roll it out even more, moving it from the inside of the tortilla outward. The tortilla should be 1/4 inch thick. Now, on to the hot comal. No, I'm not a professional tortilla maker. I try.
That's pretty good.
After about 20 seconds, the tortilla will start to puff up, and that's when you know you have to flip it over. Let's pull out those frijoles and warm those babies up. Oh my goodness, that looks so appetizing. Can you see the chili peppers and the frijoles? This is going to be great. Now we add a little queso manchego and a quick roll, and we're ready to go. Yeah, now that's what I'm talking about.
I'm so excited. We did it. We did it. We have our frijoles and we made our homemade tortillas. They are so delicious. The smell of the frijoles and the tortillas just brings me back the time I spent with my abuelita. We called her Ita. And it brings me back to that time that we spent with her enjoying her food. If I want to be close to my abuelita, I make this food right here. So let's try it out. We have our homemade tortilla, our frijoles with chile and serrano peppers, and we're gonna put some manchego cheese. I got this manchego cheese at my favorite grocery store. You know which one it is. It's H-E-B. It's great. Texas's favorite. Oh, roll this baby up, and my mouth is watering. Oh my goodness. Oh, the softness of the tortilla is not something you can buy at a store. You have to make it at home. And slightly flour on the outside, and then the frijoles are spicy and creamy, and it has such a layer of flavors with all the spices that we put into it, the onion and the cumin. This is the snack you want in the morning, in the afternoon, or at night. You know what this would be? Super Bowl. Make these, put a little toothpick in it, and it is sushi. Mexican sushi. What a great idea! Well, I can't wait for you to use this recipe in your homes. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for listening to me and watching me make the food that brings me home. I'll see you later.